they see you as a mayor of this place. I mean,
I'm
having
gonna tell you,
having your
Deaf Chef in the building.
Hey, what's up, brother? How are you, baby? Good to see you.
You're the only one who can walk
saying?
on our live set.
The only one. That's our brother. You know what I mean? But really, a lot of folks are like, hey, Omari's the mayor of Chaz. Omari's the one.
I mean, but that'll tell you something, though, that if a guy up until 3 days ago with nothing but an iPhone 8 just walking around and listening, if people want to say that, oh, Omari's this and that, guess what? The only thing I've done is listen.
Yeah. And
that'll tell you that there's not enough people with a platform that listen.
Right.
If we're able to attract people and people are like, man, you know what? This guy's cool, it's fair. That's the only thing. It's no bag of magic. It was an outdated iPhone we was using, 4 years old, believe it or not. Used to jam up on us and everything. That's why it lose signal and lose everything. But it's the effort to listen, the effort to understand. These aren't hard virtues. These are everyday things. But let me do this because we're up against a hard break. I know that we got Chukundi.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We actually got my brother out here. This is why he came out here though. I mean, when it was getting funky, when they was putting the gas, it was my birthday.
Yeah,
I got gassed up on my birthday out here. My brother came. He was like, man, where's he at? Where's he at?
He had your back.
So we're gonna take a quick break right now, and when we come back, then Chukundi will be out here, and I know that he's gonna be giving an update on his purview as what's going on, but some of the other things that he's been engaged in the community.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a great day, and I love having these discussions with you. It's so great because the dynamics have changed a lot, and I'm just grateful that you've been on the ground to report to them. So thank you, guys. I got to get to the press conference myself.
Oh,
so,
you're running on, so I guess this is my interview coming up next.
Yeah.
All right.
So thank you guys so much. This has been a great day today, and thank you, O.
Yep, we're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we got Chukundi Salisbury. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
We love you! We love you! We love you! We came in peace. We're going to leave in peace. Do not let anybody disrupt our movement, y'all. We came with a purpose. And we're going to leave with a purpose.
We got to bring him back. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. I'm your host, Omari Salisbury. As usual these days, man, we've crawled out of our bunker here in the chop, you know what I'm saying, and made it to the street level, broadcasting live here today. This doesn't happen often, and I hope somebody, if my mama's not watching, I hope somebody calls my mom because this doesn't happen a lot, especially these days. I got the privilege of interviewing my brother, Chukundi Salisbury. What's up, Kun? Well, I call him Kun, but you know.
Hey, what's up, Big O?
What's up, man?
It's a privilege to be here. First of all, for disclosure, today is my flex day at work, so I'm off work for people that know that I work for the city of Seattle. And, I'm off today. Officially.
Because, the hate is real. It's somebody over there using the stitch line like, hey, I think I saw this guy. So, man, a few things. I know we got a few minutes here, man, but a few things is, one, Mr. Live Director here played a video. We were supposed to, what we do on TV was actually set it up for you, you know what I'm saying, and talk about it and everything else. But describe to us the clip that actually played before we came back from break.
So that was a clip from Saturday. I believe it was the first rallies. Basically that Saturday where I led a rally and a march down at in front of the police station, in front of City Hall. That was one of the first rallies of that day. And I just really led the crowd in a chant of we love you, we came in peace, right? Obviously, things broke down from there. But, I feel like it's really important to let people know that, love wins the day and that we came in peace and we're going to leave in peace. And that's one of the things I've always done as a DJ, and I use them with, when I'm in the crowd. And so I left my message, but I also let people know that we're going to walk down here to Westlake in peace, and they did.
Right, and what you're talking about was that the first weekend rally. And you want to talk about a surreal scene, we got the video of it, but I'll be honest with you, I'm traumatized from watching this video of myself. and all of this smoke and everything. Because you had the peaceful rally. I mean, would just be very straightforward and frank. The black community had this rally that was going on inside the actual Westlake Park. And right behind it, all hell was breaking loose on Pine, on 5th Avenue and 6th. You had police cars on fire and everything else. But the community came in peace, and they left in peace.
Indeed.
And they left. They passed me. I was over there by McDonald's. They passed me at 5:03 because the mayor had put a curfew of 5 p.m. So by 5 o'clock, the community was out of downtown. And it was actually, it was a lot of people who had to stay a message on that, because initially they wanted to say that the peaceful protest devolved into chaos. But that's incorrect. The peaceful protest started and ended peacefully, right?
Yeah, that's true. So we had our rally that started at noon, and we ended around 1. And then we asked people to walk on down to Westlake for the Not This Time rally that was, in conjunction with Africatown and everybody else. And then, that rally ended peacefully, and folks marched on to the station past the burning cars. And, yeah, you're right. That video is so surreal. It's actually on one of my pages where you can see the rally. So I'm on the corner by Macy's, and I'm talking about, what's going on. And I was looking southeast. And so as you look this way, you can see the peaceful rally. They had the young people, community passageways, and Willard was on stage, and that was a great thing. And as you look this way, up Pine, you see the car on fire by Nordstrom's. And, I mean, you can see all of that happening at the same time. So, yeah, it was real interesting.
Right. And so what are some of your observations now? I mean, it's been a few weeks. I think that was May 30th.
Yeah.
Today is the 15th. It's been 16 days now of protests since that day, and we've seen a whole time span here where the Western Barricade was here when SPD was here, and then SPD left. The East Precinct is now currently in the hands of the protesters. What are some of your thoughts and observations? Your long time, basically your whole life you lived in Seattle. So what are your thoughts about what's going on here around this protest?
Well, first of all, as a business owner here in that is serviced by the East Precinct, I really wonder how we're going to get a response time, as a community member, right? I am concerned about that. I have some reservations about us not having a precinct. I understand that folks want to, take something and have a win, but personally, I feel like our real win is what we asked for. We didn't ask for this precinct, right? I know that the black community and people that I represent, we didn't ask for the precinct. We asked for the fire station, and we got that, right? And so we also want to know that, if something happens at the fire station and we end up actually needing, the police for whatever reason, we want them to call, and they shouldn't have to come from West Seattle to do that. So, that's kind of my take on the station. We want the pieces of property in the community that we asked for, that we can use to serve the community. And, quite frankly, like you said, we've been gentrified out of this particular area, so we want the properties that we asked for.
You know what? Interesting enough, it was actually Sam Smith. It was actually Councilmember Sam Smith, who was the very first black city council member here in Seattle. And a great story about Sam Smith for people that actually knew him, or you could actually hear, in some of the City of Seattle archives. Sam Smith will be talking to somebody, and he'd say, or someone would come to him with an idea. He'd be like, you know what? I don't really agree with you, but let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Something is kind of missing right here. But I bring this up because back in those days, the black community could not get police service. The police didn't go to the Central District. The only way that you could get the police to come to the Central District, you had to call an ambulance. You know what I'm saying? And put in a medical emergency. And out of that is kind of how Medic 1 evolved and everything else. So it was like, oddly enough, it was the black community that actually got this precinct, you know what I'm saying, put in over here because it was underserviced. A lot of people, real quick, I know we're on your time, but a lot of people are like, black people, Capitol Hill. But actually, if we just walk 2-3 blocks up right here, you'll see First AME Church, a church that outdates actually the state of Washington. First AME Church was built back when this was Washington, the territory of Washington. And you got to think, 136 years ago, people didn't have cars. There wasn't no Uber. So if you built a church 3 blocks from here, that means that the population around here that supported the church was black people. So, I mean, this is how the shifting lines of demographics here in Seattle. I want to shift gears with you a little bit. Is it okay to talk about some of the stuff you do with the Parks Department?
Well, yeah, actually, I wanted to say one more thing about the protests and my take on things since, in the last 16 days. Well, I've certainly been at many protests and rallies. I've been at, a bunch of them. I was at the Children's Rally on Saturday. That was great. But the thing that in my message to people in all of this is that at the end of the day, we need to keep the pressure up around the policies that folks are asking for. Every rally that I've been to, folks are saying, hey, we got a problem with officers getting administrative leave. Why is the officer on administrative leave that killed such and such, right? And it's not necessarily, it has zero to do with this police station. It has something to do with the contract that the union has. And so what I'm asking people to do is really keep the pressure on with city council members and the mayor, and we need to make sure that we address the 2017 police accountability ordinance. We had an ordinance that would give the mayor, and give Chief Best more power to fire officers, right? There was a whole ordinance. And what happened was our leaders, folks in a back room somewhere, the labor relations folks, what they did is they negotiated with the union to water down that ordinance. And so, yes, we want to protest. We want to keep the chop going and all of those things. But the real piece, as we look to defund and all of that, even if you defund the police, the half that are left are still going to be the same police with the same contract, right? So what we have to do is really look at that. And that's been my take. So I come out and I lead protests. Sometimes I take part in them. Either I'm leading, I'm walking, whatever. But I also have my eye on the ultimate prize of real police reform through legislation.
Right. Well, speaking of reform and legislation, I spoke to Riel Johnson yesterday.
Right.
We had there was a TV crew from ABC News Nightline that embedded with me yesterday, and I saw Riel, and Riel had a very interesting take on defund the police. And I talk to people who want to defund. Then there's some people who just want to abolish police.
Right.
Then I talk to other people over here because I talk to everybody. So I talk to a lot of people on the right as well because I've been trying to get there. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to get there and understand. They're like, man, the police needs way more funding. Look, this happened because there wasn't enough. But as far as the defund argument goes, the most sensical, if this was as to me as a journalist who heard it, the person who actually explained it the best was Riel Johnson, because what Riel said is, look, man, yeah, you hear defund, you hear this and that. He was like, man, this is basically a proposition about return on investment in public safety. He was like, we the citizens don't feel that we're getting proper return on investment that we're making in the police for public safety.
Right.
So we want to restructure those funds to be able to maximize the return to the community. Said it all in one sentence. And you know what I'm saying? And whether you're for it or against it, you can clearly understand it. You know what I'm saying?
ROI.
And I don't know why a lot of other people, it's just like defund the police. And then you're like, okay, how does that break down? And it's like, well, I don't know. So, you guys might want to find Riel. I don't know if he's on social media or whatever, but he
is.
He broke it down for people, either for people that are with defund police or people who have because he does legislation.
Yeah.
And so for people who are trying to get a better understanding of even how a legislation might look in the defund, you know what I'm saying? He said it comes down to return on investment.
Right. This just really comes down to ROI. And just to be clear, we could talk about this some other topics is that, defund does not mean abolish. Defund does not mean disband. Defund really means redistribute. And so, like Riel said, I completely agree with that we just want a return on our investment. And clearly, we're not, some people in the community don't feel like they're getting a return on their investment. So there you go. But that's my take on it, and that's what where I've been with rallies and what I've seen throughout this entire process. I just want to make sure that the folks here in the CHOP, formerly Chaz, really understand that at the end of the day,